Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidam Scha Om Agyana Timarandasha Gyanachana Shalakya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namo Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Guru Ganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Abhidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwa Gurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Premno Ibija Pranam Devam Divyatanum Suchanda Varanam Balarka Chelanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sareka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Sridharam Mansha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Madhya-lila, chapter 4, Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. And I'll begin with verse number 170. Shri Mukhe Madhava Purir Amrita Charita Bhaktagane Shunaya Prabhu Kore Ashwarita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally praised the nectarian characteristics of Madhavendra Puri. And while he related all this to the devotees, he personally relished it. Prabhu Kohe Nityananda Koraha Bichar Puri Sama Bhagyavan Jagate Nahyar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Nityananda Prabhu to judge whether there was anyone within the world as fortunate as Madhavendra Puri. Dugdadana Chale Krishna Jarede Kadila Tina Bare Swapne Ashit Jare Agya Koila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said Madhavendra Puri was so fortunate that Krishna personally appeared before him on the plea of delivering milk. 3 times the Lord gave orders to Madhavendra Puri in dreams. Jara Premi Bashahaya Prakata Hoila Seva Angikara Kori Jagatatarila. Being obliged because of the loving affairs of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Krishna himself appeared as a Gopal deity, and accepting his service, he liberated the whole world. So 3 times the Lord gave Madhavendra Puri instruction in dreams. First he appeared after having a cowherd boy who appeared and gave Madhavendra Puri some milk, and Madhavendra Puri then began to consider that the Lord appeared before me and I didn't recognize him. So that night, Madhavendra Puri had the first dream, and that dream was the Lord appeared and told him, the Lord came in a dream and told him that he was in a bush suffering from heat and cold. He had been, the deity of Gopal had been carried there after the threat of a Muslim invasion, and that also that we know that's the deity installed by Krishna's grandson, that Gopal deity, Vajra, I believe his name is, and then Madhavendra Puri went with the townspeople, cleared out a path through the jungle, and brought the deity and placed him on top of Govardhan Hill. Then, after some time, after the Anakud feeding or feast for the deities in honor of the deity's installation. Excuse me. Deity's installation. Then after some time had passed, and Gopal appeared to Madhavendra Puri in another dream and told him that although he was bathed and worshipped so nicely, but still, he said, Gopal said his body was burning from all the heat and, that he had endured, and he asked Madhavendra Puri in the second dream to bring him sandalwood for cooling his body, to rub sandalwood and place it upon his body, and that Madhavendra Puri would have to go to Jagannath Puri to retrieve that sandalwood, and Madhavendra Puri did that, and then on the way he passed through the temple of Gopinath, and the deity there stole kheer, because Madhavendra Puri desired to know how that kheer tasted, so he could make that preparation for his deity Gopal, but he was ashamed to ask for to taste that kheer, but the deity stole a pot of kheer so that Madhavendra Puri could taste it. Then from there, from Remuna, where that occurred, Madhavendra Puri went to Jagannath Puri and was bringing back sandalwood, and then again on the third dream, Gopal appeared to Madhavendra Puri in a dream and told him that my body's non-different from Gopinath, so if you smear the sandalwood on the body of Gopinath, that will relieve me. So, of course, all the devotees and residents of Remuna were very happy to be able to do that. So in three dreams, the Lord appeared to Madhavendra Puri. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Madhavendra Puri was so fortunate that Krishna personally appeared before him on the plea of delivering milk. 3 times the Lord gave orders to Madhavendra Puri in dreams. Dugdadana chale Krishna jare deka dila tin bare swapnyashe jare agya koila. Jara premi bash hoya prakata hoila sevangi kara kori jagata tarila. Being obliged because of the loving affairs of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Krishna himself appeared as a Gopal deity, and accepting his service, he liberated the whole world. Jara lage Gopinatha kira koila churi, adeva nama hoila kira chora kori. On account of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Gopal stole the pot of kheer. Thus he became famous as Kheer Chora, the thief who stole the kheer. And that deity stole that kheer so Madhavendra Puri could taste it, so he would know how to prepare something like that kheer for his deity of Gopal. And although Madhavendra Puri didn't ask, the deity hid the kheer behind his skirt, and then in a dream, that deity of Gopinath appeared before the pujari there in Remuna and told him, I've hidden a pot of kheer for Madhavendra Puri, who's resting in the marketplace. Please take it to him. So the pujari did that, and then found Madhavendra Puri in the marketplace and gave him that pot of kheer, which the deity had stolen and received the name Kheer Chora, the thief who stole the kheer. Karpura Chandana Jara Ange Chadaila Anande Purigo Saira Prema Uta-lila. Madhavendra Puri smeared the sandalwood pulp over the body of Gopinath, and in this way he was overpowered with love of Godhead. Malecha deshe karpura chandan anite janjao puriduka pabe iha janiya gopal. In the province of India, governed by the Muslims, there was much inconvenience in traveling with sandalwood and camphor. Because of this, Madhavendra Puri might have gotten into trouble. This became known to the Gopal deity. Mahadaya Moya Prabhu Bhakata Vatsal Chandana Pari Bhakta Shrama Korila Safal. The Lord is very merciful and attached to his devotees. So when Gopinath was covered with sandalwood pulp, Madhavendra Puri's labor became successful. So when Gopinath was smeared with sandalwood pulp, Madhavendra Puri's labor became successful. As Gopal had indicated, if you place the sandalwood on the body of Gopinath, that will be the same as placing it upon my body, that of Gopal, and I will be very satisfied. So the Lord is very merciful, and in this way, Madhavendra Puri didn't have to carry the sandalwood through the provinces of ruled by the Muslims, where that traveling with this rich cargo of sandalwood and camphor would have gotten him into difficulties. Purer prema parakashta koraha bichar alokika prema chite lage chamatkar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu placed the standard of Madhavendra Puri's intense love before Nityananda Prabhu for judgment. All his loving activities are uncommon. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, indeed, one is struck with wonder to hear of his activities. Parama virakta muni sarvatra udasina gramya varta bhai dvitiya sangahina. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, Sri Madhavendra Puri used to remain alone. He was completely renounced and always very silent. He was uninterested in everything material, and for fear of talking about mundane things, he always lived without a companion. Hena jana gopalera agyamrita paya sahasra krosha ashe bule chandanam maginya. After receiving the transcendental orders of Gopal, this great personality traveled thousands of miles just to collect sandalwood by begging. Boke rohe tabu ana maginya nadkai hena jana chandana bara bahiloya jai. Although Madhavendra Puri was hungry, he would not beg food to eat. This renounced person carried a load of sandalwood for the sake of Sri Gopal. So for himself, Madhavendra Puri would not have begged for anything, but for the Lord, after the Lord requested him in a dream, Madhavendra Puri would beg for the sandalwood and undergo so many difficulties carrying that sandalwood for the satisfaction of the Lord. Maneka Chandana Tola Visheka Karpur Gopale Paraiba E Ananda Prachur. Without considering his personal comforts, Madhavendra Puri carried one mound, about 82 pounds of sandalwood, and 20 tolas, about 8 ounces, of camphor to smear over the body of Gopal. This transcendental pleasure was sufficient for him. Utkalera dani rake chandana dekinya tahan edaila raja patra dekaya. Since there were restrictions against taking the sandalwood out of the Orissa province, the toll official confiscated the stock, but Madhavendra Puri showed him the release papers given by the government and consequently escaped difficulties. Molecha desh durapata jagati apar kemate chandana niba nahi e bichar Madhavendra Puri was not at all anxious about the long journey to Vrindavan through the provinces governed by the Muslims and filled with unlimited numbers of watchmen. Sange ek bata nahi gandana dite, tatapi utsaha bora chandana loya jaite. Although Madhavendra Puri did not have a farthing with him, means he had no money, he was not afraid to pass by the toll officers. His only enjoyment was in carrying the load of sandalwood to Vrindavan for Gopal. Pragara primare swabhava char nijaduk vignadira nakore bichar. This is the natural result of intense love of Godhead. The devotee does not consider personal inconvenience or impediments. In all circumstances, he wants to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Etara gada prema loke dekaite gopala taryagya dila chandana anite. Sri Gopal wanted to show how intensely Madhavendra Puri loved Krishna. Therefore, he asked him to go to Nilachala to fetch sandalwood and camphor. Bahu parishrame chandan Remuna anila ananda badila mane dukana ganila. With great trouble and after much labor, Madhavendra Puri brought the load of sandalwood to Remuna. However, he was still very pleased. He discounted all the difficulties. There were many difficulties in carrying this heavy load of sandalwood to Vrindavan, and just to get to Remuna from Puri. With all that sandalwood, Madhavendra Puri had difficulty, but he discounted all that. He didn't even consider that. He was so much happy to be able to serve the Lord that the difficulties didn't even enter, and he was not at all concerned about that. Parika korite gopal koil agyadan, parika koriya seishe hoila doyaban. To test the intense love of Madhavendra Puri, Gopal ordered him to bring sandalwood from Nilachala, from Puri. And when Madhavendra Puri passed this examination, the Lord became very merciful to him. E bhakti bhakta priya Krishna vyabhar bhujiteo amasabar nahi adhikar. Such behavior exhibited in loving service between the devotee and the devotee's lovable object, Sri Krishna, is transcendental. It is not possible for a common person to understand. Common people do not even have the capacity. Such behavior exhibited in loving service between the devotee and the devotee's lovable object, Sri Krishna, is transcendental. It is not possible for a common man to understand. Common men do not even have the capacity. Eta bole pare Prabhu tara krita shlok jay shloka chandire jagat korayache alok. After saying this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu read the famous verse of Madhavendra Puri. This verse is just like the moon. It has spread illumination all over the world. Gashite gashite jaiche malaya jasar gandhabore taiche e shlokara bichar. Continuous rubbing increases the aroma of Malaya sandalwood. Similarly, consideration of this verse increases one's understanding of its importance. Ratragana madhye jaiche kostuba mani rasa kabya madhye taiche e shloka gani. As the kostuba mani, or the kostuba jewel, As the Kaustuba money is considered the most precious of valuable stones, this verse is similarly considered the best of poems dealing with the mellows of devotional service. Rasa Kavya, the best poetry for expressing rasa compared to the Kaustuba Mani. A shloka kohijachin Radha Takurani Tara Kripai Swaryache Madhavendra Puri. Actually, this verse was spoken by Srimati Radharani herself, and by her mercy only was it manifest in the words of Madhavendra Puri. Kiba Gorachandra Iha Kore Ashwadan Iha Shwadite Ara Nahi Kotajan. Only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has tasted the poetry of this verse. No fourth man is capable of understanding it. This indicates that only Srimati Radharani, Madhavendra Puri, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are capable of understanding the purport of this verse. Seshakale e shlog patite patite siddhi prapte hoila purir shlokera sahite. Madhavendra Puri recited this verse again and again at the end of his material existence. Thus, uttering this verse, he attained the ultimate goal of life. Madhavendra Puri recited this verse again and again at the end of his material existence. Thus, uttering this verse, he attained the ultimate goal of life. Aindina dayadranata he maturanata karavalokya se hridayam tvad aloka kataram dayita brahmyati kim karomyaham. Aidina dayadranata he maturanata karavalokya se hridayam tvad aloka kataram Dayita Brahmyati Kim Karomyaham. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? The uncontaminated devotees who strictly depend on the Vedanta philosophy are divided into 4 sampradayas or transcendental parties. One of the 4 sampradayas, the Sri Madhvacharya Sampradaya, was accepted by Madhavendra Puri. Thus he took sannyas according to parampara, the disciplic succession, beginning from Madhavacharya down to the spiritual master of Madhavendra Puri, the Acharya named Lakshmipati. There was no realization of devotional service and conjugal love. Sri Madhavendra Puri introduced the conception of conjugal love for the first time in the Madhvacharya Sampradaya, and this conclusion of the Madhvacharya Sampradaya was revealed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he toured southern India and met the Tattvavadis, who supposedly belonged to the Madhvacharya Sampradaya. When Sri Krishna left Vrindavan and accepted the kingdom of Mathura, Srimati Radharani, out of ecstatic feelings of separation, expressed how Krishna can be loved in separation. Thus, devotional service in separation is central to this verse. Worship in separation is considered by the Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya to be the topmost level of devotional service. According to this conception, the devotee thinks of himself as very poor and neglected by the Lord. Thus he addresses the Lord as Dina Dayadranatha, as did Madhavendra Puri. Such an ecstatic feeling is the highest form of devotional service. Because Krishna had gone to Mathura, Srimati Radharani was very much affected. And she expressed herself thus: "My dear Lord, because of your separation, my mind has become overly agitated. Now, please tell me, what can I do? I am very poor and you are very merciful, so kindly have compassion upon me and let me know when I shall see you." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always expressing the ecstatic emotions of Srimati Radharani that she exhibited when she saw Uddhava at Vrindavan. Similarly, feelings experienced by Madhavendra Puri are expressed in this verse. Therefore, Vaishnavas in the Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya say that the ecstatic feelings expressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his appearance came from Sri Madhavendra Puri through Ishwara Puri. Vaishnavas in the Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya say that the ecstatic feelings expressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his appearance came from Sri Madhavendra Puri through Ishwara Puri. All the devotees in the line of the Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya accept these principles of devotional service. So although Madhavendra Puri appeared in the line of Madhvacharya and took initiation in the line of from Lakshmipati, still he is the first one in that sampradaya to really express these strong feelings of serving Krishna in conjugal love and separation that Madhavendra Puri first expressed. Eshloka padite prabhu hoila morchite premete vishvasa haya parila bhumite. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited this verse, he immediately fell to the ground unconscious. He was overwhelmed and had no control over himself. Aste bhyaste kolikori nila nityananda krandana koriya tabe ute gorachandra. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell to the ground in ecstatic love, Lord Nityananda quickly took him on his lap. Crying, Mahaprabhu then got up again. Premunmara hoila ute iti utidai hunkara koraye hase kandenachegai. Exhibiting ecstatic emotions, the Lord began to run here and there, making roaring noises or loud noises. Sometimes he laughed, and sometimes he cried, and sometimes he danced and sang. Hunkar means to bellow, to make loud noises. Exhibiting ecstatic motions, the Lord began to run here and there, making resounding noises. Sometimes he laughed, and sometimes he cried, and sometimes he danced and sang. Aidina, bole bar bar, kantina, nisare, bani, netre, ashrudar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not recite the whole verse. He simply said, Aidina, Aidina, repeatedly. Thus he could not speak, and profuse tears went in his eyes. Kampa Sveda Pulakashru Stamba Vaivarnya Nirbeda Vishada Jadya Garva Harsha Doinya. Trembling, perspiration, jubilant tears, shock, fading of the bodily luster, disappointment, moroseness, loss of memory, pride, joy, and humility were all visible in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. Trembling, perspiration, jubilant tears, shock, fading of the bodily luster, disappointment, moroseness, loss of memory, pride, joy, and humility were all visible in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. These are ecstasies exhibited by Mahaprabhu in his mood of separation. Eshloki Ugadila Primera Kapata Gopinath Sebaka Deke Prabhura Prema Mata. This verse uncovered the door of ecstatic love, and when it was exhibited, all the servants of Gopinath saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance in ecstasy. So this verse opened the door of ecstatic love, and in so doing, all the servants of Gopinath saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance in ecstasy. Lokera Sangata Deki Prabhura Baya Hoila Takurer Boga Sari Arati Bajila. When many people crowded around Mahaprabhu, he regained his external senses. In the meantime, the offering to the deity had been finished, and there was a resounding arati performance. There was a resounding arati performance. Takure Shayana Koraya Pujare Hoila Bahir Prabhur Age Anidila Prashada Barakir. When the deities were laid down to rest, the priest came out of the temple and offered all 12 pots of kheer to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kiradeke Mahaprabhu Rananda Barila Bhaktagane Kaujaite Panchakira Loila. When all the pots of kheer, remnants left by Gopinath, were placed before Mahaprabhu, he became very pleased. In order to feed the devotees, he accepted love of Godhead. When all the pots of kheer, remnants left by Gopinath, were placed before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became very pleased. In order to feed the devotees, he accepted 5 of them. Made a mistake there. It's that love of Godhead. When all the pots of kheer, remnants left by Gopinath, were placed before Mahaprabhu, he became very pleased. In order to feed the devotees, he accepted 5 of them. Say, to spread love of Godhead to everyone, he gave them some of that wonderful kheer. Satakir, Pujarike, Bahudiya Dila, Panchakir, Panchajani, Bandiya Koila. The 7 remaining pots were pushed forward and delivered to the priest, to the pujari. Then the 5 pots of kheer the Lord had accepted were distributed among the 5 devotees, and they ate the prasadam. Gopinath Rupe Jari Koriyache Bojan Bhakti Dekaite Koila Prasada Bhakta Prasada Bhakasad. Gopinath Rupe Jari Koriyache Bojan Bhakti Dekaite Koila Prasada Bhakan. Being identical with the Gopinath deity, Mahaprabhu had already tasted and eaten the pots of kheer. Yet just to manifest devotional service, he again ate the pots of kheer as a devotee. So, of course, the kheer was offered, and Mahaprabhu was able to take that kheer when it was offered to the deities, because he's non-different from the deity. But then, to manifest devotional service, he again ate the pots of kheer as a devotee. One says the Lord during the offering, and one says the devotee. Nama Sankirtane Se Ratri Gonaila Mangalarati Deki Prabhate Chalila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed that night at the temple engaged in chanting, doing Nam Sankirtan. In the morning, after seeing the Mangal Arti performance, he departed. Gopal, Gopinath Puri, Gosaira Guna, Bhakta Sanghe Sri Mukhe, Prabhu Koila Ashwadan. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally tasted with his own mouth the transcendental qualities of Gopalji, Gopinath, and Sri Madhavendra Puri. Etak Yane Kohila Dohara Mahima Prabhura Bhakta Vatsalya Ara Bhakta Prema Sima. Thus I have described both the transcendental glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's affection for his devotees and the highest limit of ecstatic love of God. Shraddha Jukta Hoya Iha Shune Jai Jan Sri Krishna Charane Se Pai Premadan. One who hears of this narration with faith and devotion attains the treasure of love of God at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Shri Rupa Raghunath Parijaras Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishnadas. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishnadas narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus then the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila, 4th chapter, describing Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. So, about this chapter, of course, there is some indication. Srila Govinda Maharaj, he spoke very much wonderfully about this chapter. And the whole idea that of rubbing the sandalwood, bringing the sandalwood from Puri under the request of the Gopal deity, taking the sandalwood to, and then being instructed by Gopal to rub the sandalwood on the body of Gopinath, which is said not to be different from that of Gopal. Here's the point that Srila Govinda Maharaj was making. He said, there's the verse, Gashite Gashite Jaiche Malaya Jasar Ganda Bori Taichie Shlokara Vichar. Continuous rubbing increases the aroma of Malaya sandalwood. Similarly, consideration of this verse increases one's understanding of its importance. And Madhavendra Puri was saying the verse over and over and over again, just as one rubs sandalwood. And by continual rubbing, the fragrance of the sandalwood comes out, and that fragrance is increased by rubbing. So in the same way, Madhavendra Puri recited this verse at the end of his life. Ai dina dayadra nata he matura nata katavalokyase ridayam tvadaloka kataram daita brahmyati kim karomyaham. And this is said in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Only Mahaprabhu had tasted the poetry of this verse. No fourth man is capable of understanding it. This indicates that only Srimati Radharani, Madhavendra Puri, and Mahaprabhu are capable of understanding the purport of this verse. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? And that is said by Srimati Radharani. Madhavendra Puri revealed that, and Mahaprabhu understood that also. I dina dayadra nata he, matura nata kadavalokya se, ridayam tvadaloka kataram, daita brahmyati kim karomyaham. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? And that mood of deep desperation, of separation was spoken by Srimati Radharani after Krishna had departed for Mathura. And Madhavendra Puri is expressing this beautiful verse of poetry. The end of his life, he's saying this over and over again and deeply feeling as that separation, as Srimati Radharani revealed in her own words. So, Srila Govinda Maharaj. So this whole episode of going down to Puri, bringing back the sandalwood, going to take the sandalwood to Gopal in Vrindavan, but as instructed by Gopal in a dream, arranging to rub that sandalwood and prepare the paste to put on the body of Gopinath and Remuna, that will be satisfy Gopal, and this whole analogy is bringing out this point, which was expressed. The whole example of bringing the sandalwood is underscoring this point. Gashite Gashite Jaiche Malaya Jasar Ganda Bore Taichi A Shlokara Vichar. Continuous rubbing increases the aroma Malaya sandalwood. Similarly, consideration of this verse increases one's understanding of its importance. And obviously, we have heard previously, Ramachandra Puri couldn't capture that at all. He was with Madhavendra Puri. Obviously, he heard Madhavendra Puri saying this verse over and over again. Aidina dayadranata he maturanata kadavalokya se ridayam twadaloka kataram daitya brahmyati kim karomyaham. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? So that was expressed by Srimati Radharani, and Madhavendra Puri was saying this verse over and over again. And Ramachandra Puri could not understand it all. And he said, why are you so despondent? Why are you crying? Why don't you think about meditate on Brahman? And when he said that, Madhavendra Puri was so disgusted. He said, get out of him, oh you sinful man, get out of my sight immediately. If I see you when I leave this world, I will go to hell. So I don't want to see you, please go. And Madhavendra Puri is expressing this verse. But contrasting to that, we see the activities of Ishwara Puri, Madhavendra Puri's dearest disciple, who became Mahaprabhu's spiritual master, who was serving Madhavendra Puri and helping him when Madhavendra Puri is feeling the deep effects of separation. It's Ishwara Puri who's serving him. So, as previously said, that shows the example of one who receives the favor of one's spiritual master and one who receives the condemnation of one's spiritual master, that one who is favored by his spiritual master, such as Ishwara Puri, he sent Govinda and Kashiram to Kashishwar to take care of Mahaprabhu, and he rejected Ramachandra Puri, who became a critic or a a criticizer, a fault finder of the Lord and his devotees. So this at the end of this chapter about the Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service, we hear a very beautiful conclusion expressing Madhavendra Puri's deep feelings of separation, and also the first to express a Madhura Ras in the line which was coming from Madhvacharya. So I'll end here. Now we'll sing Hari Harai. Hari Harai Namah Krishna Jaravaya Namah. Hari Harai Namah Krishna Jaravaya Namah. Jaravaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Jaravaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinatham Marana Mohan. Giridhari Gopinatham Marana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Garadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Garadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jairupa Sanatam Bhatta Raghunath. Jairupa Sanatam Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan. H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan. Jahoite Vignana Shabishta Puran. Jahoite Vignana Shabishta Puran. H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas. H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas. Tasavar Pada Renu Mora Panchagras. Tasavar Pada Renu Mora Panchagras. Kader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas. Kader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas. Janame More Abhilas. Janame More Abhilas. H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas. H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodas. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sada Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sada Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuka Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhakta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Prem Sigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagwat Ki Jai. Narrated Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Brinda Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Sri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Sri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Sri Koladvip Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopika Pradhan Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Kulindi Muna Jo Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Jai Vishnu Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki